Well, Black and White Network, it's time to talk about the VP debate between JD Vance and Tampon Tim. It was a bad night, guys, for Tim Walz. He was terrible, man. Some of the expressions on his face. And by the way, guys, CBS was actually trying to help out Tampon Tim. Now, the rules is that the moderators will not fact check. And folks, guess who they actually fact checked? It was not Tampon Tim. It was actually JD Vance. And then JD Vance said, wait a minute, hold on. He called him out on them fact checking him because CBS is breaking their own rules, folks. The candidates themselves were supposed to fact check each other. And newsflash, guys, CBS got their fact checks wrong. Not a surprise. It's just like ABC with David Muir and Lindsay Davis. They were wrong. They were wrong, man. Folks, this was a bloodbath, man. It was a complete wipeout, folks. JD Vance won this. It wasn't even close, guys. Okay? Now, we actually do have the CBS poll, and it does confirm that JD Vance won this debate. Now, considering, that CBS is definitely left wing, it has JD Vance actually winning this by 1 point. Folks, that it was way worse than this. I mean, Tim Walz was getting cooked. And we got a couple of clips here that we're going to go over. I wish we can actually do the whole debate. We can't do that. So I picked out a couple of topics, folks. And boy, it was a bad night for Tampon Tim. I mean, guys, there was memes going across social media with his facial expressions. That's how bad it was, man. JD Vance came ready and came prepared. This is the reason why, guys, President Trump picked him. And also, guys, all of the hype for Kamala Harris and Tampon Tim, it's been inflated by the media, man. I mean, the likability of Kamala Harris was greatly inflated, man. I mean, folks, she was the most unpopular number 2 ever. And now they actually have Kamala Harris in positive territory. That's all fake, man. It's manufactured. And the same thing with Tampon Tim, guys. But guess what? Even according to CBS's own poll, JD Vance, his likability greatly improved after that debate. Remember, a left-wing poll, folks. A left-wing poll. Keep that in mind. So let's get into it, guys. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, become a channel member live stream every single Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. You guys can also support us by becoming a member on blackandwhitenetwork.com or supporting us on Locals, both for just $5 per month. Check the links in the description. So here we go. Check this out on Outkick, guys. Tim Walz savagely roasted for awful debate performance, man. It was bad. This is really bad, guys. Now, Tim Walz actually said something. I was like, wait a minute. Did he actually say that? He did. When it actually came to school shooting, guys, the man said something and the internet is forever. This should backfire greatly. Now, I do believe overall, guys, this VP debate is really going to have little impact on the election. I truly do believe that. But boy, Tampon Tim, god awful. So down here, man, this is David Hutstead right here. Now, David Hutstead works for Outkick, and we know the kind of people that's actually going to follow him are definitely going to be more to the right. Now, he put up a poll, and it says JD Vance won this debate 97.3%. Tampon Tim just under 3%. Okay? But I wanted to use CBS's own poll to show you how bad this was for Tim Walz. Because CBS, definitely more to the left, and these people on the left are going to vote more for Tim Walz, and that still didn't save him. It still did not save him, folks. Let's look at some of the responses here first, man, about his performance. Yeah, this is one of the faces he made, man. His facial expressions, man, are going viral. Outkick here puts, when you go grab another beer and your wife asks what you think you're doing. That's pretty funny right there. Another one here. When you have to do your job, you got by line on your resume. that facial expression, that's the main facial expression that I saw on social media while actually watching the debate. Matt Walsh. Tim Walz is winning on 1 point tonight. He has more school shooter friends than JD Vance. Yeah, because Tampon Tim actually said he's friends with school shooters. He didn't even correct himself, folks. I mean, he's getting destroyed on that. Another one here. School shooters have distanced themselves from Tim Walz, clarifying, quote, "We didn't even know him that well." And, quote, "Our mom made us invite him to our birthday parties like one time." Now, this is the clip right here where Tampon Tim says, "I become friends with school shooters," when they were talking about guns. You don't have to take my word for it. Listen in for yourselves.
So I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to. So I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to.
Wow. Tampon Tim says, "I become friends with school shooters." He actually said that, folks. No correction whatsoever. This next response here says, JD Vance mopped the floor with Tim Walz. That is funny right there. That's a funny picture right there of JD Vance with Tampon Tim's head with the mops coming out of his head right there. Pretty funny right there, guys. Very funny. Man, a lot of responses here, man. I can't go over all of these here. What does this one say? After watching Joe Biden, Tim Walz, and Kamala Harris on the debate stage, I'm comfortable saying Joe Biden might be sharper and lighter on his feet than both Walz and Harris. Tim Walz wandered into the wrong bar tonight, folks. Yeah. And don't worry, we're going to get to the Tiananmen Square comments because Tampon Tim was actually asked a good question by CBS about him lying about him actually being in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre. He actually said he misspoke. But folks, we got a video clip here of Tampon Tim talking about that. He didn't misspeak. This man actually claimed not once but twice he was in Hong Kong. Yeah. Michael Knowles here says Vance is prepared to be president. Can anyone really say the same about Tim Walz? Yeah. Matt Gates, quote, I've become friends with school shooters. Tim Walz, man. Tim Walz may end up voting for JD Vance. Yeah, man, after last night, I may be kind of serious on this, guys. Tim Walz may actually vote for President Trump. Yeah, that's how bad it was, guys. That's how bad it was. Now, this is a meme right here of the transgender Nashville school shooter right here. And Lives a TikTok puts out newly resurfaced photo of Tim Walz hanging out with his friend. Right there. Yeah. Pretty bad, guys. Pretty bad. Let's see here. I guess this was CNN's poll before the debate. And it says, who bettors think will win the debate battle? 72% said Tampon Tim. Only 28% said JD Vance. Now, let's get to the actual CBS poll here. Check this out. Remember I said CBS left wing. They're in for the Democrats, guys. The viewers, the Democrats, says, who won the debate? Vance or Walz? Look at this, guys. 42% said J.D. Vance. 41% said Tampon Tim Walz. Remember, definitely left-wing bias here in this poll, and J.D. Vance still came out on top. Tone of the VP debate was 88% said generally positive, 12% said generally negative. And right here it says at the debate, they mostly sounded reasonable. 74% said Tim Walz and J.D. Vance 65%. And extreme, they said Tim Walz 26% and J.D. Vance 35%. So looking good for J.D. Vance right here. Look here, it says, if needed, they are prepared to be president. 60% said that Tim Walz was ready to be president, while 40% said that he was not. And J.D. Vance, 55%. Remember, left-wingers for those aren't. 55% said that J.D. Vance is ready to be president, and only 45% said that he wasn't. Now, on the issues here, okay? Now, I think that that J.D. Vance knocked it out the park on abortion. Now, I would not expect J.D. Vance to win in the polling on abortion, though. But I did like his answer. But they gave Tampon Tim the edge on abortion, 62-38. Healthcare, 59-41. Conflict in the Middle East, they split it 50-50 right there. On the economy. Now, the major issues right here, guys. The major issues that people will be voting on the economy, they said that J.D. Vance would actually won this 51-49. And immigration, 52-48. That's the two major issues right there. Remember, guys, left-wingers here are mainly voting on these polls here. And immigration and economy, two biggest issues, J.D. Vance won. Opinion of Tim Walz right here before and after the debate. Before debate, there was a favorable opinion of Tim Walz, 52. It bumped up 8 points to 60%. Unfavorable went down. It was 41 before the debate, and it dropped to 35% afterwards. Now, J.D. Vance, look here. He got a bump after the debate. Look here. Of course, they were going to say that Tim Walz is more favorable, but before the debate, J.D. Vance, 40% found him favorable. It jumped up 9 points. He got a bigger boost than Tim Walz by a point. His unfavorable also went down from 54 to 47. Yeah. So J.D. Vance, man, he really did kill it right here. And on the last one here, it says spent most of their time explaining their own views. 54% for Walz, criticizing the other side, 46%. And for J.D. Vance, it was 45-55. Now, one other thing we need to go over, guys. Tampon Tim talking about him being in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre. This is him 10 years ago, May of 2014. Listen in to what he said, folks.
As a young man, I was just going to teach high school in Foshan in Guangdong, and was in Hong Kong in May of '89. And as the events were unfolding, several of us went in, and I still remember the train station in Hong Kong. It was a large number, especially European, I think, very angry that we would still go after what had happened. But it was my belief at that time that the diplomacy was going to happen on many levels, certainly people to people, and the opportunity to be in a Chinese high school at that critical time seemed to me to be really important. And it was a very interesting summer, to say the least, because if you recall, as we moved in that summer and further on, and the news blackouts and things that went on, you certainly can't black out news from people if they want to get it. And I can still clearly remember the fall when the Berlin Wall fell and what was happening. As a young man,
Yeah, so you heard that right there, guys. Now, this is what Tampon Tim was actually saying now, because they actually confronted him on him saying he was in Hong Kong when the guy was actually in Nebraska, guys. He was not in Hong Kong. The man straight up lied. You heard that? Now listen into this clip here from the debate.
Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer of '89 to travel to China. 35 years ago, be able to do that. I came back home and then started a program to take young people there. We would take basketball teams, we would take baseball teams, we would take dancers, and we would go back and forth to China. The issue for that was to try and learn. Now, look, my community knows who I am. They saw where I was at. Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's always been about that. Those same people elected me to Congress for 12 years. And in Congress, I was one of the most bipartisan people, working on things like farm bills that we got done, working on veterans benefits. And then the people of Minnesota were able to elect me to governor twice. So look, my commitment has been from the beginning to make sure that I'm there for the people, to make sure that I get this right. I will say more than anything, many times I will talk a lot. I will get caught up in the rhetoric. But being there, the impact it made, the difference it made in my life, I learned a lot about China. I hear the critiques of this. I would make the case that Donald Trump should have come on one of those trips with us. I guarantee you he wouldn't be.
Have you guys noticed he still hasn't answered the question yet? Now, CBS will actually follow up and make him address it.
Praising Xi Jinping about COVID, and I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing. So this is about trying to understand the world. It's about trying to do the best you can for your community, and then it's putting yourself out there and letting your folks understand what it is. My commitment, whether it be through teaching, which I was good at, or whether it was being a good soldier or was being a good member of Congress, those are the things that I think are the values that people care about.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Wow. The man just said he lied. The man straight up lied, folks. Boy, what are you guys thinking of that, man? Did you guys actually watch the debate? Because it was a complete wipeout. A complete wipeout, man. Tampon Tim was horrible. Horrible. And I believe that's actually going to conclude the debates for 2024. Not a good night for Tampon Tim, man. J.D. Vance came out and he hammered him. Hammered him, guys. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.